Hey everybody, welcome to the Season 3 finale of Discover SPRINGFORD. I'm standing in front of Beth Ann's Flowers, located on Main Street in Royersford Borough. Now, when we initially sat down for this conversation, we did not anticipate that it would be our finale. Because of the COVID-19 pandemic and the requirements of social distancing, we felt it best to halt production on Season 3 and start to prepare for Season 4 once this has all passed and we can get back to some sense of normalcy. But today, I'm excited to share with you a first in the Discover SPRINGFORD archive. The first time we've done an interview during normal operating hours. So we do get interrupted from time to time, but I sit down with Beth Ann and her daughter Megan to talk about what it's like to run this family-owned business here in Royersford for the past 25 plus years.
I'm Geoffrey Desiato, a professional actor, part-time realtor, and transplant to the Springford area. And I'm on a mission to find the best that Springford has to offer. I'll be interviewing local business owners, civil servants, and other prominent members of the community to find out what makes Springford a great place to live, work, eat, and explore. I invite you to join me on my journey as I discover Springford.
Ladies, thanks for giving me the opportunity to come in today. Beth Ann, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background and where you're from originally?
Well, I'm from Royersford.
Okay. All right.
And just to start out, my grandparents were shopkeepers in Royersford.
Oh, really?
They had a little store called Bowers Market on
Okay.
3rd Avenue.
Oh, awesome.
And it was between 3rd and Spring and 3rd and Washington.
Okay.
And I also have an uncle that had a business in town that is Jiffy Products.
Oh, yeah.
Now,
They
my
were on my list. I don't know if it's the same
My
Jiffy Products or not.
cousins
But...
now
Oh, okay.
run the business.
Oh, nice.
I have another uncle. Hi, Mindy. Sorry.
No, it's fine. We are actually filming this episode.
Yeah.
Come on in.
Come on
We're
in.
filming this episode during working hours. So we're going to have some. I'll have to get her to sign some type of waiver, I guess. No, I'm just kidding.
It's all good.
It's okay. Hi. How are you?
This is Jeff.
Okay.
This is Mindy.
Hi, Mindy.
Nice to
Mindy
meet
is
you.
now, I don't know if she's actually in the shop, but yeah, we
Yeah,
have
right.
new people here for the episode of Discover SPRINGFORD.
Right.
So thank you. we won't disturb you. You
No,
can go about with what you're
go
doing,
ahead.
unless you have to talk to her. So you were saying your cousins are now the owners of Jiffy Products.
Right. I have an uncle who was a doctor in the town, Dr. DeBack, who
Oh, wow.
his office is about a block and a half from here.
Oh, wow. He's still here?
No.
Or he was? Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
I have an uncle who was a school teacher.
Oh, my goodness.
Springford.
It's such a family legacy. And you're continuing it now because your daughter and you have grandchildren now and
Right. And
You
they
know,
go to Royersford.
yeah, they're carrying on. This is awesome because
And Brook Elementary.
for someone like myself as a transplant, I meet lots of different people, and a lot of the different business owners have either similar stories to yours, or they're from completely different states, or there's a lot of people from the Upper Darby area that I've found. There's been a lot of common threads. I think Mike McCluskey, Anna Marie, they've all come from Upper Darby. So it's cool to have somebody who's been here, a lifelong resident, and operating businesses and multi-generational businesses. You know, the legacy of people investing not only their family relationships in the community, but their livelihood is coming from the community, which is really cool.
It is.
Yeah. So I'll just say again as a disclaimer, we may get interrupted occasionally, and Megan has been the one who has chosen to be the one that pulls aside if the phone rings or if a customer does come in. So this is a little bit different than a typical Discover SPRINGFORD, but it's exciting. It creates a nice little hub of activity. I don't know. I got my what do you call it? My heart is racing at the prospect of more customers coming in at a moment's notice and not knowing what to do. And we just have to think on our feet. So anyway, so tell me, what got you into the floral business?
Grandchildren and
Just the way you put it.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
That's okay. I started in the floral business in Phoenixville.
Okay.
I was there for 10 years. I've been in this location for 27.
Oh my goodness.
So I've been in floral business since I was 20.
Wow.
And I had a mentor,
Okay.
Fred Leary. He and his father and his brother had a flower shop in Philadelphia,
Okay.
and they went through the Great Depression, still open,
Oh my goodness.
and had one employee.
Wow.
So he had 60 years of experience that I pulled from. So he not only taught me how to design flowers, but he taught me how to be in business. It was amazing.
That's really cool.
What a gift.
Yeah, and to have someone who went through thick and thin,
Yes.
very thin,
Yes.
and was able to keep their doors open. That's incredible.
It was.
So you're 20 years old. Did you start originally? You worked for someone else, I would imagine, or did you
did
start your
not.
business at 20? Really? Oh my goodness! And in Phoenixville, obviously Phoenixville a lot different now than it was at that time.
It is a lot different.
Yeah. What was it about flowers that originally excited you as a young woman deciding to make that your livelihood?
It took me a long time to figure that out.
Okay.
I was never very much of an artist in school. I didn't like art class so
Okay.
much. What I did like was science. And just a few years ago, I went to a design conference, and the speaker started out saying floristry is a cross between science and art. And I thought,
Oh, wow.
there's where I came in, through the science angle,
That's
through
cool.
the botany.
That's really
And
cool.
Yeah. I started, from high school, I went to Ursinus,
Oh, okay.
really far away.
Yeah, right. Yeah, your parents were like probably sobbing
Yeah.
the moment they heard that you were going to go to that far
Go
land.
land.
Yeah, so far away at Ursinus.
Just ended.
Yeah, so I'm trying to remember. Ursinus, they have. Do they specialize in botanical
No,
education or anything like that? Yeah. Was
I was
it just a
biology
local
major.
thing, or like it was
Biology
yeah.
major.
Yeah.
Thought I wanted to do something with dentistry or
Okay.
something in science
Yeah.
or biology. And I just happened to kind of back into this.
That's incredible. Yeah, like you said, like you would not necessarily think of the science aspect of it, in terms of coordinating the arrangements and the decor and all the things that go into the work that you guys do. There is a science to it.
There is a science to
And a lot of times people are only looking at the artistic side of things. So we have Jim, who is Beth Ann's husband. He's not in the shot right now, but I wanted to give him the opportunity if he wanted to interject anything. It seemed like you wanted to... No? Okay. He's like a phantom. He comes and he goes, and we don't know...
He's my main support.
That's good. Yes.
And the driver.
No, that's good. So, yeah, like the science aspect, sorry to put you on the spot a little bit, but are there specific aspects of the biological science that you took to that you have been able to kind of bring into your business here?
I know that I'm always teaching.
Yeah.
My mom was a teacher.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm teaching a lot about the biology of the flowers.
Yeah.
The tulip. It'll open and close about 10 or 11 times. It's called the dance of the tulip. After it's cut from the bulb, it can still grow about 2 inches. That's the only flower that does that.
Oh, wow.
I don't think I have liatris in here, but liatris is the only flower that opens from the top down instead of from the bottom up. So I just love the facts.
Oh, that's so cool.
The science.
Yeah, and I would imagine that really helps you teach your customers how to best care for
How to best
the
care for
arrangements
them.
and stuff
Exactly.
once they walk out your door. Because
Exactly.
obviously you can treat them with care and do the things while they're still in your doors, but then to educate people beyond just, hey, here, enjoy it, it looks pretty, like to actually give them the tools to be able to enjoy it for as long as possible. That's really cool. And it's not something I necessarily would think of when I'm thinking of, it's my wife's birthday, I'm going to call a flower shop, you're just trying to figure out what's the best, but to actually get if she really likes this smell, she really likes longevity or this or that.
Exactly.
You can really give the actual the
roses that
science
smell
behind
the
it. Yeah.
best, the roses that smell the best open most quickly.
Oh, okay.
So it just.
Oh, yeah, that's good. I didn't know
Yeah.
that. I'm learning little tips of the trade that are going to help me out come Easter and Mother's Day and
That's
all
right.
that stuff, which is coming quickly.
Your wife's birthday?
Yeah, my wife's birthday is in August, so
Valentine's
yeah.
Day.
We're actually filming this episode a little bit before Valentine's Day, so if you happen to see any Valentine's bouquets, That is why. If you see any things in the background, as with many shows, we film a little bit in advance for lead time, and Beth Ann was kind enough to allow me to schedule this interview in the midst of several other ones. But we will be, I'm sure she'll be getting lots of phone calls and stuff come Easter and Mother's Day and prom season and everything. So tell me a little bit about what it was like. So did you when you were 20 years old, you opened your own business in Phoenixville. So outside of having the mentor that you had mentioned, what was that experience like to actually open the doors and say, hey, like I'm on my own here, like there's no there's no safety net essentially at that point. You're really just going for it.
I really did have my mentor
Yeah.
almost on a daily basis.
Oh, that's good.
It was wonderful.
That's cool.
He gave me much of his time, much of his knowledge, and asked only that I pass on the knowledge,
That's really cool.
which was really neat.
Yeah.
You
You weren't paying a consult fee and all that stuff. Yeah.
No.
On a retainer and everything.
And so that's what I'll ask of Megan.
Yeah. Just keep the legacy going of educating.
Keep the education going.
That's so cool too that your mom is a teacher.
Yes, my
So
mom.
that comes in. My wife's a teacher, and there's a lot of common themes in that. I mentioned a previous episode with Tom DeBella before we started. His mom was a teacher. His dad was a cop in Hazleton.
Okay.
But he had said, basically either his mom had the people and they straightened up and flew right for his mom, or they got into trouble and they met his dad.
That's right.
It's cool though, like to be, I was homeschooled, but my kids, my oldest is in my wife's class this year because my wife is a teacher at a Christian school, and my my son's in 6th grade. So like, it's kind of interesting because he's with his friends and he says mom instead of Mrs. Desiato or whatever. So I have no idea what it's like to be a teacher. Did you really?
She was a substitute. She would substitute anywhere from kindergarten through 12th grade for Springford.
Oh, okay.
And she had me in class one day.
Yeah.
That was enough. And I did call her mom in class.
Yeah.
Apparently my brother had her too in kindergarten one day. And she said after the day was over, he said, Mom, you did pretty good.
You're like, I have a feedback card here that I'm going to pass along to you. That's really funny. Evaluations.
But Mom and I, it wasn't a good.
No, it was good.
No, it wasn't as well.
Yeah, some parental child relationships are oil and water. I know, like, my one son and I are very similar, so we tend to butt heads because we're obstinate.
Right.
And my mom always prayed that I would have a child that was just like me as payback.
That's right.
And she got her prayer request. But obviously you have your daughter in the business with you. Tell me a little bit about how that came about. Other than just dragging her along because you needed the extra hands.
She grew up in the business. So
Yeah.
as an infant, we had a playpen behind the counter.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And there's where she was. And if she was asleep, she stayed asleep. And if she was awake, she'd go for the customer's attention.
Oh, yeah.
So she grew up among the flowers.
That's incredible. Yeah, she's a literal flower girl.
She was a
flower child.
Flower child. Yeah, I like that.
So
When she was in preschool, they said they gave each child a pilgrim name or an Indian name, and they named her Wildflower on purpose.
oh, that's cool. That's an awesome
They
nickname
couldn't wait
too. Yeah.
to tell me.
Oh,
that they
yeah.
did that. She was maybe 4 or something.
Oh, okay. Did she fit the wild side as well as the flower side? Was it an appropriate nickname in that regard? Was she a wild child? No, okay. It just had a nice ring to it. Wow, that's good.
It was just
Yeah, because I was
cute.
going to say, running a business and having a child who is bouncing off the walls might be a little complicated. But
Yes.
yeah, she was, from a young age, she was ready to pitch in and help as
She
able.
was.
And I'm sure it helped make a sale occasionally. You have a cute little kid in the place, and
Absolutely.
you want to support the family business,
She had her own little table, workbench in the back. One time she made a little hat and put flowers around it and ribbons on it, and my grandmother came in and purchased it
Oh, really?
because she put a $1 tag on it.
Oh my goodness,
She
that's
was
so
probably
cool.
in 1st or 2nd grade. And then finally, when she went to visit my grandmom, she said, "Oh, Nana, it was you that bought it." And my grandmom kept it
That's so
till she
cool.
moved.
That's
Till she
amazing.
moved, yeah.
Yeah. I was just,
It
the
was
legacy
really,
aspect.
So she was right away. She was all into it.
Yeah,
and my grandchildren too.
Oh, really?
Oh, they love to come in and
do
can we make an arrangement and sell it?
Oh my goodness, this is so
they
cool.
do.
There's like so many generations. Because you had said your grandparents had a business.
They were grocers. So it was
Yeah,
a
the
small
grocers. So
Bowers
I mean,
Market.
you're looking at how many generations is that now? Is that fifth generation? That's
Fifth.
incredible. Fifth generation of this family that are operating businesses in Royersford.
Right.
And that's not a common story, I don't think. I mean, there are a lot of people that have made their life here, but it's a whole other thing entirely to make your, to feed yourself through a business and support yourself in a business in the same community for this many generations,
Right.
which is really cool. And I would imagine your mom being a teacher, that a lot of the people that may be watching this that are locals may have had your mom in Springford at some point, which is really cool.
Or in O&J Roberts.
Oh, okay. Oh, did she?
When
Because
she was a full-time
oh, okay.
teacher. She was at O&J.
Yeah, that's incredible. Yeah, so she didn't have to go too far for her
Right.
full-time job, which
Exactly.
is good. I know a lot of people they have to drive to whatever school district they were fortunate enough to get hired by,
Right.
So yeah, that's pretty interesting. So if you're watching this and you actually have a connection, you can comment below, or if you're listening to the podcast, send us a note to say, hey, your mom was my teacher. I think that would be really cool. That would probably that would make them really excited. And if you have any fun stories, I'm sure there's multiple generations of stories that you could share. Maybe just private message them, depending on what the content of those stories are. We don't want that all broadcasted on social media. But so, at what point? So you said you were in Phoenixville for 10 years,
Mm-hmm.
and what made you decide to transition to Royersford?
We bought the house.
Okay, so we're saying goodbye. Bye, Mindy. It was nice to meet you.
Take care.
Sorry. Before you answer that question in depth, I wanted to give her the chance to excuse herself.
We
So
bought the house.
Okay.
And realized that we didn't need two shops.
Okay.
So we brought everything up here, and I thought, I'd never have as much walk-in business as I did when I was beside the liquor store, the state store in Phoenixville, between the Mad Grocer and the state store on Bridge Street. But guess what? We have more.
Oh my goodness.
People in Royersford walk.
Yeah, that's one thing. That's one of the reasons why we moved here. Is I wanted to be able to
Walk around.
to walk to Main Street and to
Walk
see
to
what's
Main
happening. Is really exciting because
It is very
there's
exciting.
more and more people every Saturday and Sunday, and people are just out and about because it's
Sure.
it's so exciting to see that. And
Always.
it's kind of I do feel like we're getting back to that
Mm-hmm.
kind of local shopping, local supporting local. People being out in the community, talking to each other, walking around, not being as isolated,
Right.
which is really cool because the trend in the past was away from the urban centers, away big developments off the roads and things like that. So to see that people are starting to come back to the main streets, in the Main Street USA, as it were, it's really exciting. So
Some people never left it.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's incredible. So you've been here now in Royersford for 27 years, you
Right,
said.
Right.
So when you bought this house, I would imagine originally it wasn't a retail space in this floor.
60
Yeah.
years ago.
Megan's going to come back. She was a good worker there. She just made a sale, I think. So.
She did. 60
so-
years ago, this was a bakery.
Oh, was it really?
It was.
Oh,
But
wow.
when we bought it, it was just a duplex.
Okay. Didn't still smell of bakery,
No,
did
it
it?
did
That's
not.
unfortunate
That's a
because that would have been really
Well,
nice.
It would have been. It was
Yeah.
Du Bois Bakery, and it was a German woman with a French name. I don't know why. My grandmom remembered it.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes.
Oh, wow. That's so cool.
And some people remembered that it was in this half of the house, and some people remembered that it was in the other half. Well, apparently, she rented both. At times, she rented both sides.
Oh, okay.
The baking was not done inside; it was done outside in a little wooden shack.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
So this was just her sale.
This was the
area
sales.
where she sold stuff.
Right.
I can't talk today. Sorry about that. That's incredible too, because a lot of people, I'm just fascinated. Sorry, because I'm so new to this area, but to hear that like your parents, grandparents remember what your business used to be. That not a lot of
Right.
people can say that because things are. And for a lot of people, they're only going to remember this as Beth Ann's Flowers because you've been here for
Right.
27 years.
That's
So
right.
that's really cool
Right.
to be able to have been able to stay here for so long.
My grandmama remembered pushing her, either my dad or my uncle, up in a baby coach up on the porch and leaving him sit in the coach and coming in to buy whatever she needed from the bakery. She could leave him.
So
she had an actual...
This was originally
a porch.
A porch, okay.
Yeah,
so it wasn't
inside.
enclosed like this,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
Which is good that, when you bought the house, was it?
It was a house.
It was, but I mean, did you enclose the porch
We
or it already
enclosed-
does? Oh,
we
okay.
enclosed the
So
porch.
there was a porch
Right.
when you first moved
Yes.
here. Okay,
There's
so.
a picture of me helping
Help.
take it apart.
Oh, really?
Porch apart.
If I find it, I'll share it with you.
Okay, yeah. That's incredible. So,
Yes.
yeah, the fact that and I'll let Megan take a little bit of time just to kind of talk from her perspective, because we did talk about you while you were gone. Sorry. Hope your ears weren't burning too much. But as a child, either in the playpen or doing things outside of it being all you've ever known, essentially, tell us a little bit about what you enjoy about this business and what you enjoy most about the work that you do.
I don't have as much experience quite yet as
That's
Beth Ann.
okay. Few people do, as I'm learning.
Yes.
So.
I do enjoy, I go to different classes. Beth Ann will send me out to, or my mom.
Yeah.
I try to be professional.
No, that's fine.
She'll send me out to Bloomsburg, to one of our wholesalers. They hold classes, and there's other wholesalers as well, but Bloomsburg's one of my favorites. And,
Okay.
just learning from the other designers. I didn't take art classes as
Yeah.
much. I did a jewelry class, so I like the hands-on
Sure.
kind of stuff. So, and the colors. I don't have like an exact favorite. I just enjoy doing it. It doesn't
Yeah.
feel like coming into work every day,
Oh,
which
that's
is
so cool.
kind of nice.
Yeah, that is really nice.
And
'Cause
I like my people skills. So
Yeah.
I enjoy talking to people and taking orders and learning a little bit about them, as long as it's not Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
I don't have much time to do that. But getting to know, our people.
Yeah, and I would imagine, I previously talked to Kathy Calhoun, and there are like with the flora business, there are times where she actually has a space where she can crash beneath the jewelry store. So obviously, you guys, this is the home that you purchase, so you don't have to travel far. But those busy times, Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, Easter, Thanksgiving, all those holidays where you guys are providing things, and then if you have a special order for weddings and funerals and things like that, I can imagine that it's just like nonstop around the clock that you guys are just like filling orders and assembling and arranging and all that kind of stuff. So it's good to love what you do if that is the case, because if you can't get away from it,
Yeah.
you better learn to love it. So,
Yeah, we're not always just 9 to 5.
yeah. Oh yeah. Very few businesses are. I think 9 to 5. The 9 to 5 job, I don't know if it exists anymore unless you work for you just kind of corporation, and even then they expect you to give your life away in some capacity. They give you a cell phone and say you're on call all the time, even though your hours are 9 to 5. So, but yeah, it's really cool that you guys can and you can be with your family. I mean, you probably spend more time with your adult daughter than most moms do, which is really cool. I mean, I imagine you think it's cool. I don't know how you feel about it. I'm just kidding.
I think it's cool. I don't
I know. I'm like, Mom, come on. No, I'm just kidding.
You'll find most days we get along.
Yeah, I would imagine most people do. You guys, you don't have anywhere to run to, so like you can't. It's not like I'm gonna be like, I'm going to the other location, or it's like, So it's great that you guys, and it's really cool to walk in here because it is such a homey feel to it, and I can sense the love of the family when you walk in, and it may not smell like a bakery, but it does smell like flowers, which is just as good because flowers don't burn. Well, I guess they do, but
Well,
depending.
we've never cooked them.
Yeah, that's right. And is it true? And this is completely hearsay, but I've heard people say like if you sear the ends of stems and stuff for bouquets, that is
Sear the end.
like
I've heard
when
of
you
them
cut them,
dipped
like
in
you can like
wax.
sear in a pan, like it does something to keep them looking fresher longer. That's not true.
Tried that theory
Oh,
out
okay.
yet.
Well, if you guys have been in the business for 37 years and you've never heard of that, then I was misinformed. I've never tried it, but I was just trying to show off some type of impressive
fact.
knowledge about, and I proved myself to be a dunce, as I often do when I'm inquiring about things.
There are a lot of ways to keep flowers fresh.
Yeah.
Yes.
How about Jerry's science project.
Oh, my son's
Okay, so if you couldn't hear Jim, he asked about Jerry's science project.
Jerry's my son.
Okay.
And when he was in 7th grade, Springford always does a science fair.
Okay.
And you have to participate. And we took Jerry to Delaware Valley Wholesale Florist in Sewell, New Jersey, and we bought a bunch of roses that all basically come from the same bush.
Okay.
And we lined them up in vases, and in each one we decided to Jerry decided what kind of liquid to put in this vase.
Oh, okay.
One of them was milk, one of them was Mountain Dew, which is his favorite at the time.
Yeah.
One was water. And then we had about 4 or 5 different flower foods.
Okay.
To see how long, if they worked, and how long they would work for.
Oh, wow.
And aspirin.
Oh, and aspirin, yes. People will come in and say, well, can't you put aspirin in water? It doesn't help much.
Yeah.
Flower food is predominantly sugar.
Yeah.
But it's also the pH is made proper for the flower.
Okay.
So we put all these flowers in all these liquids, and of course the Mountain Dew one died first.
Yeah.
It will kill you.
I would imagine.
If
Yeah.
the caffeine doesn't get you
Yeah.
first.
Right.
The milk didn't work. The ones in flower food lasted about 3 weeks.
Oh, wow.
And his teacher actually said, "Can't you just leave them in the classroom?" And he said, "Sure."
It's good sales.
Right, you got a
it's
better
like a business
grade, I
card
think.
right there too for the business. You know, it's like come to Beth Ann's Flowers
So
for
that's
all your flower needs.
So
Yeah,
we combined. It was really.
that's really cool.
Yeah.
Did any of the liquids change? You know, the non-healthy liquids change the colors of the flowers, or was there a different outcome other than they just wilted and died?
No.
Because I've seen. There's some colors that I see in flowers, and I'm like, are they real colors, or is there something where they put coloring in the water and it comes up as the flower is growing? Is that a thing? Or?
Probably
Talk about
both.
color morphing.
Yeah, is that a
Yeah.
thing? Color morphing?
Color
Is that what it's called?
Morphing
Oh,
is the
okay.
new word. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I've seen like royal blue in the midst of like a white flower, and I'm like, that doesn't look like it would grow that way naturally. I don't know, but
Yeah, there's definitely floral spray paints.
Yeah.
Don't use regular spray
Yeah.
paint on flowers. And then there's dye you can put into the water.
so it comes like
There's-
more like a pattern or whatever. Like it's less
It depends
controllable,
on
I would
the
imagine.
flower
Yeah, right.
And how you cut the
Oh, okay.
stem. That's why we use knives. You
Okay.
can usually get a cleaner cut
Yeah.
with a knife, a really sharp one.
Yeah.
And there's some I've tried the rainbow roses to replicate, which is tough because you never know if the roses that came in that are white, if they were already in water. So if they are, that kind of depletes the purpose because
Because it's already
they
been
won't
absorbing.
soak
Yeah.
up the
Already
colors.
hydrated.
Right.
So that's unsuccessful.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure how they get the real vibrant colors, but there are some that just come in really cool, crazy colors, and they're constantly changing colors by different pollinations, and I'm sure that they
work with the genes.
Yeah, I was gonna say I would imagine the people who are actually like growing them, that would they're really fine tuning and adapting, and they're
cross-pollinating.
cross-pollinating and
One
stuff
thing
like
I've
that.
learned from her, she said every time they try and make a blue rose, we get a new purple or lavender.
Oh, okay.
We do.
There's
Yeah.
no natural. I've seen Amazon. They try and sell blue rose, and I'm like, yeah, that's not going to go.
It's not possible. I mean, blueberries aren't even really blue if you want to think about it. So like, it's very hard to find blue anything naturally other than
very
animals.
few.
Like
we
I've
have a
noticed,
few
there's a
natural blue
yeah.
flowers.
this is totally not related, but there are certain colors that I see like you can only find in nature, and I always say that like whenever we go to a zoo or something like that, and you see like the little poisonous frogs and stuff, and some of them have the brightest like aqua and teal, and you're like, these colors like. Or like you look at the neck of a parrot or something like that, and it's like the deep blue, and you're like, oh my gosh, like these are like the most beautiful colors I've ever seen, like, and no one can really capture them outside of like looking at the nature, looking at the flowers, looking at the animals, the feathers, all that kind of stuff, and I find that really, really cool that it in nature it's very hard to replicate, and that there's no one thing that's truly identical, And that's an interesting part.
They
that I
can't
find.
replicate the blue.
Yeah.
And delphinium is one of the most blue flowers there is, and they can't splice it or combine it into any other
really?
flower. They can't. They're trying to put it in other flowers as well as the same, to make it more blue or less blue. It doesn't.
That's so
doesn't
crazy.
move.
Yeah, and I'm sure they're trying their darndest to do it because it would be something unique, something different. And
Exactly.
Yeah, so
Exactly.
if they can't figure it out, then I think it's a long time
The other
before we
year
see
I-
anything like that.
The other year I got really excited because I saw they were touting a blue orchid, and I looked at it and I said, oh, they put dye in by the roots.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I thought, oh, neat. Oh,
it's artificial.
it wasn't real.
The rainbow roses, they use a certain rose, a certain white rose, right?
The rainbow roses. You
My
had
business
mentioned the
card.
rainbow roses.
A business card. There's a rainbow rose. Each petal's a different color.
Oh, really?
And they do use one variety of roses.
Oh,
It's
wow.
a creamy white.
So it's a white rose to start.
It's a white rose to start. And they actually cut it at the bottom and put it in dye.
Okay.
And if you slice it, you can see around the edge of the rose where the color is taken up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
But how it knows to go to each petal, I don't know.
That's so cool.
One color in each petal.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and it doesn't.
Yeah.
These are obviously, I'll have to try to get a close-up shot of this, or if you have a picture of this on your website or something like that, I'll figure it out. But yeah, there's not a lot of. You would think it would be blended, like each petal would kind of be a blur of, like when you do that spinning art thing,
Yeah,
you'd think it would
right.
kind of just be like all a mishmash, but it's like each individual petal, there's like dark purple and then light purple and pink and yellow. It's really cool the way they're able to design that. It looks like a bow that you would put on like a gift or something like that, and it's a rose, which is pretty amazing. So tell me a little bit about what it's been like for you here in Royersford, and what the operation has been like since you've been here.
It's been like,
Yeah.
well, I've always been here.
Yeah, that's
so
right. I know it's hard.
I've always been here.
I would imagine, you've been on Main Street and seen many businesses come and go that have been on Main Street.
have.
I would imagine a lot of your clientele are repeat customers and referrals and things like that.
Very
So,
loyal customers.
yeah,
yes.
that's
I'm
awesome.
Very blessed.
So
yeah.
in the course of 37 years, I'm sure you're seeing people doing flowers for people's proms, and then those girls are now mothers, and their kids are getting them flowers. They're for Mother's Day and things like that. That sounds
Just this year
just like
we
with
had
your
a-
own family's generational thing. You're then seeing that in your client base as well.
This year we had a wedding. We had done the parents' wedding 30 years ago,
Oh wow,
and we did the daughter's wedding. And
that's so cool.
it was really fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Very exciting for me.
obviously trends and styles change, but flowers don't change that much. I mean, arrangements can change, but like the flower is the flower, and to be able to kind of find the right thing for the people and to see the legacy of the I keep saying the word legacy, but it's just so prevalent. It's such a, I don't know, I can feel it being in here. There's just like so much history and of the families, and
We are the family florist.
yeah, that's right. They're literally the family florist. But yeah, to be able to see the people that they were excited about their wedding day, and then their child's wedding day,
Right.
and to be able to still be here, and you're relatively young, if I can say that. I mean, you got lots of years left, just by my own perception. But the fact that you started at 20 years old is incredible. I can't imagine a 20-year-old. I mean, Anna Marie was the same way. She started hers when she was like 19 years old, and you're like, is it something in the Royersford water or something like that? Like, because a lot of people, they don't start their thing that they do for the rest of their life till they're 25, 30 years old, and it's usually a couple false starts here. Like myself, I did this for a little while, then I did that, and then I figured out at 30 what I wanted to do when I grew up, which I always joke around with my wife about. But Yeah, I can't imagine what it must have been like as a 20-year-old. Was it that you just didn't really know any better, so you just kind of went all in, or?
Kind of.
Yeah. You're like, oh, I like
thought,
this,
you know
so
what?
I'll try it.
Yeah, I really like this, and I might as well go for it.
That's incredible.
I think I don't know if you don't have a family yet. You don't have a house. You don't have all those. What do I want to call them?
Responsibilities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. So you're free to try things.
Yeah. You're really only concerned with providing for yourself, and you can eat ramen noodles or whatever.
Exactly.
You can get through those lean times. Yes,
Yes.
I totally get what you're saying.
Right. Right.
And that comes.
And
I was someone who, unfortunately, didn't figure out what I wanted to do for real until after I was married and had children, and then I kind of had to try to pivot, which is a lot more difficult to negotiate and figure out how to do it without neglecting the responsibilities that I had and the people that I loved, and not hurting them and not providing for them while off pursuing my dream. You know what I mean? So,
Exactly.
So yeah, I think it's amazing that you found the thing that you love, and I can tell still love, all these years later, and now you're teaching. And I think that the true testament of somebody who loves something is that they want to tell other people about it. They become an evangelist for it. You know what I mean? Like, so the fact that you love to teach people shows, I feel like that keeps your love fervent for what you do. And I commend you for that, because that's really cool.
A teacher from the Springford Junior High School.
Yeah.
That dates me.
Not the 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade, whatever it is.
No.
Yeah. Not 9th grade, but yeah.
No, it was 7th, 8th, and 9th grade, and it was the art teacher.
Okay.
And he became a customer probably in the last 10 years. And he gives me a grade every time.
Are you serious?
Every time I create something for him, he gives me a grade.
Oh, man.
He calls me back and tells me what the grade is.
Sweaty palms again, and like you start to like back in school.
I didn't care for art then.
Oh, okay.
But he did tell me. He told me I found my medium.
Oh, that's so cool. That's true, because that is art. It comes in so many mediums,
It really does.
And what we kind of, I'm glad you said that, and you talked about the science behind it too, because I think a lot of people have misconceptions about, oh, I'm not an artist, or I couldn't do that, and it's like, well, it may not be the way you thought it was, but you might actually be that very thing that you're saying you're not. Like it's really interesting. I never thought I would be acting and doing all this stuff. I love that stuff, but I pictured what I do very differently years ago. You know what I mean? Like you have a perception of what that thing is, and then you don't realize that, like, oh, actually I check a lot of those boxes. So like the things that I like, I can. Wait a minute, I could do that. I that might be what I'm supposed to do. It's interesting how, everybody from different backgrounds can end up working together and finding common threads. And that's one of the things I love about sitting down and talking with guys like you and the various businesses, is just finding those common threads of people that are from different walks of life, different backgrounds, and there is a real common theme, and it's family wanting to create something that lasts, and investing in the community here, which is really exciting for me as someone who moved my family here and is raising my children here, to see people that have really put down roots. Pun intended. I'm sorry, that was awful. That was an awful joke. So as we wrap up, tell me a little bit about, or tell people how they can get in touch with you through social media, or how they can call you, like what your phone number is.
Yes, we have a Facebook page, Beth Ann's Flowers. We have websites, bethannsflowers.com.net, and you can always call us on the phone. Our number is 610-948-8999.
Right, and you can walk in. You said they have walk-ins.
Walk in.
Right on Main Street, next to H&R Block. I mean, for lack of a better term, what's the official address?
426.
426 Main Street in Royersford Borough, and the hours are 9 to 5, right?
Monday through Friday.
Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, but they work way more than 9 to 5 Monday through Friday. Well, ladies, thank you so much for this. I really appreciate the time.
Well, that's all the time we have for today's episode of Discover Springford. I want to thank you for watching, and I also want to thank Beth Ann, Megan, and Jim for their time today. I also want to say that this is the end of Season 3, but don't worry, we're coming back strong in Season 4. We're already lining up guests, and I'm excited to announce a new feature called Humans of Springford. We're going to be highlighting personal stories of those who are investing their time, their talent, and their treasure here in the Springford community. These are going to be stories from people who have raised families here and those who are financially investing to help with the revitalization efforts. So stay tuned. Visit our website, discoverspringford.com, for more information. You can also subscribe to our various social media channels and our podcast. I also want to let you know that we're selling all of our merchandise at cost to support our future season. You can pick up an I Heart Rofo t-shirt for just $7. That really helps out our work that we're doing to highlight the Springford community. You can subscribe to the podcast as well, and subscribe to our newsletter by visiting our website. Thanks again for watching. I pray that all of you are staying healthy and safe during this unprecedented time, and I know we are all going to come back strong. So come back next time when we highlight more of what makes the Springford area a great place to live, work, eat, and explore.